So someone asked me about this. They said, recalls recent news that said the U.S. government is going to put an end to all outsourced tech support in India. Would that help or decimate the scammers? I guess that's saying, would that help the scammers or would that hurt the scammers? So, yeah, just random tweet from this account here. It says, President Trump is reportedly considering blocking U.S. tech companies from outsourcing jobs to India. Now, I think this is like part of the whole tariff situation or whatnot that's going on right now. Now, as for the question, would this help or hurt scammers? I think in the short term, it probably wouldn't change much of anything in the very short term. In the long term, it would change some things. I think one of my biggest gripes with outsourced tech support is that it gets people used to outsourced tech support. And then once people get used to the outsourced tech support, if somebody calls them and they're used to outsourced tech support and they say, oh, I'm from Coinbase, or, oh, I'm from this place, I'm from that place, the person is already like really used to hearing that, and they think it sounds legitimate. But I think the problem with this is if we just ban India from doing this, I mean, someone already said in chat they'll outsource to Pakistan, and that's probably what would happen. I don't know if it would be Pakistan. Maybe it'd be like the Philippines, because I know the Philippines, which, I mean, technically, is that outsourcing since, I mean, it's a U.S. territory? But I think that's what would end up happening is they would probably just go and outsource to another country. I'm trying to think of other countries. You know, it's pretty much just like India and the Philippines, right? Where everything kind of gets outsourced to, you know, so it's kind of like, where else would they outsource to? As far as Pakistan, I don't think they would outsource to Pakistan. I've never even heard of I've never heard of outsourced tech support in Pakistan. You know, I've never even heard of that. So I feel like it would either be everybody would go to the Philippines or everybody would go to that I think that would probably be it. You know what I mean? Cambodia, is there a lot of outsourced tech support in Cambodia or phone support in Cambodia? You get Egypt quite off. Egypt? I don't think I've ever gotten anyone in Egypt. Outsourced to Nigeria? I've never gotten out. You guys got like some rare outsources, man. I've literally every time I get outsourced, it's either the Philippines or India. Every single time. Every time I've called any outsourced phone. Yo, Egypt, Cambodia, Nigeria. See, I think what we need to do is instead of, because this isn't really like a fix to our problem. This is just like, it's not something that's gonna. This isn't like a way to fight back against scammers. It's just a way to punish India, which, I mean, actually, I think in part India maybe does need to be pressured to actually stop all the scammers that they got running around in their country. But as far as like helping the problem with the scammers that we got going on, I don't think that this is going to really, like this specific point right here, I don't think that this is going to really change anything much for scammers, because it's just going to be outsourced to another country. And then if it does end up getting outsourced to like, you know, Pakistan or something like that, then it's, you know, I mean, it's going to be like the same accent anyways, and it's not going to help with anything like that. I think what needs to be done is probably, you know, stop all the outsourcing. That would be great. You know, I know companies complain that, oh, it costs more money, but maybe instead of cost cutting and penny pinching every single other corner, maybe companies should like stop doing that. Maybe we'd have less data breaches with that, because data breaches, cost cutting, penny pinching, sending all this stuff, sending out people's information to other countries for outsourced support is part of the reason why we have so many scammers calling us, because our information gets leaked every 2 freaking seconds, man. It seems like every month, all of a sudden, everybody's social security numbers are getting hacked, or somebody's stealing them, or like the thing with Coinbase, where the freaking outsourced guys in India were getting paid to steal people's information and sell it to guys. You know what I mean? There's a lot of problems, and I don't think that until it's actually put onto focus by somebody big in the government, nothing's going to happen. And then to that point, even if somebody in the government like stops outsourcing things and stuff, the damage has been really done. You know what I mean? The damage has been done to where, I mean, these guys in India and these other countries, they've been trained now. They've been trained. I mean, how many scammers have I called to where they've literally told me, I've had conversations where scammers where they've told me, oh yeah, well, my job before this was a real tech support call, working for an American company, talking for phone support, but it wasn't making enough money. So I went over to do the scamming instead, because it gets me more money. So now they use the skills that they got from that actual, legitimate, honest job, and now they're scamming people. You get what I'm saying? So now you have that problem because now they know exactly how to talk to people. They know the whole procedure, they know how to target people and act legitimate, and everybody else is used to it. So I think probably, I don't know, like an exact plan that would fix or help mitigate these scams. But for one, stopping the outsourcing altogether would be great. 2, putting actual repercussions on companies when they have things like data breaches, when they have things like with the Coinbase thing where people's funds were getting stolen. Granted, I think Coinbase handled that pretty well. From what I heard, Coinbase, they actually notified the people that were affected, and then they even put like a bounty on the head of the people that stole the information. So Coinbase actually handled that pretty well, but there should be like actual fines, not just fines. There should be like legal repercussions, like maybe criminally. If you get hacked, yeah, but if you get hacked multiple times or something, there's got to be something where, okay, you're mismanaging people's information, and you could be held criminally liable for that. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't even be to begin with. You should actually have like a proper team handling all this stuff. If it's to the point to where you're getting hacked multiple times and multiple big breaches are happening, something more severe has to be done. And I think more than just these small fines, there has to be very large fines. Like the I guess instead of it just being like a, when did there was a company that got fined? I mean, they get fined like $2 million, but then the company is worth like $4 billion. You know what I mean? So it's nothing. So I think when these fines get put, the valuation of the actual company should be taken into hand of how much they're going to be fined. That's what I think. Because if something like that happens, I think companies will take their security a lot more seriously. If they're like, oh crap, if we get hacked and we end up getting fined, it's going to be, we're worth $4 billion and they're going to fine us $2 billion. That's going to bankrupt us or something. You know what I mean? That might make them, oh, well, maybe we don't need to pinch pennies here. We should actually invest in this more because we might lose the entire company if we end up getting fined if a data breach happens. You know what I mean? So I think stuff like that needs to be changed, because they just get off too easily with this stuff. There's too many companies doing all this stuff, and they get off too easily on it. Um, and things need to come down harder. I'm not talking about making like a bunch of laws that are gonna restrict companies and restrict like the free market and stuff like that. But I'm saying like the existing things that we have now, as far as like fines go, they need to be worse. They need to be more harsh. They need to actually affect the company. The company can't just be like, oh, well, yeah, that's okay. And then a month later, nothing happens. It's like everybody forgot already and the company forgot, because it's the money, the amount of money that they're getting fined is so minuscule that they don't care, you know, and then nothing happens from it. That's how you have these companies that year over year over year, they continually get hacked. They continually have a horrible, trashy reputation. So that needs to be changed. And like I already said, I think outsourcing needs to be gone altogether. I mean, all I hear all the time is, oh, well, an American wouldn't work that job. Americans do work those jobs. I mean, you know, call companies like there's like, I think Comcast uses, you know, US tech support, Spectrum, you know, there's, you know, these internet like ISP companies. I think I've never heard of an ISP that outsources from what I hear. Sometimes I've heard it, but for the most part, they're not. Like, what about those Americans? You know, and they're working at a call center in America. What do you mean they won't work these jobs? I think people will work these jobs. And I think the people saying, oh, well, Americans won't work these jobs, I don't know what they're butthurt about, but I think they would. I mean, I kind of already work at a call center, so if it was an actual like normal wage, then shoot, I'd work at a damn call center, man. Yeah, I know Amazon doesn't. Amazon definitely doesn't. They outsource for sure. Yeah, and then more jobs will be available for people in the US. And I think that goes with like every country. I mean, you know, in Europe, I think those countries should have their own phone support in their actual mainland too. You know, I think that's how it should be for most countries. Why is everybody outsourcing? You know what I mean? When it just doesn't need to be done. You know, it doesn't need to be done. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of my thoughts on it. So, I mean, this specific thing here, I don't think anything's going to happen from it. But we can see here, this list here, companies actually outsourcing to India. So this is India specifically. This is 2023. So, I mean, that's like 2 years. It could have changed a lot, but what the hell? Who is this? 120,000 IBM 90. Why does IBM have 95,000 outsourced? I know that can't be phone support because IBM mainly does business to business sales now. They're like out of the regular consumer markets. What the hell why does IBM have 95,000 outsourced jobs to India? What jobs are these? Microsoft 60,000, Google 45,000, Oracle 40K, Salesforce 35,000. Salesforce, those guys just had a breach that affected like a billion different companies, including like Cloudflare and stuff. Amazon 30,000, Dell 25,000, Cisco 20,000, Intel 15,000. So yeah, that's a lot. That's quite a lot, man. That's quite a lot. But yeah, I mean, is this phone support though? I don't know. I think this, I mean, because the thing is, like, outsourcing in general, I mean, do you need to? You know, if because the thing is, if you find a candidate let's say this isn't for phone support and they find somebody like, oh, this guy's really gifted. Let's just use AI as an example. Okay. I know it's like the latest buzzword. People are tired of hearing about AI, but just say this guy like writes amazing AI algorithms or something. You know, I mean, what is the point of outsourcing it? Because there's already those visas where if a company wants them to come work at their company, they can bring them to the United States. You know what I mean? So I don't know why they have like, I don't know, 60,000 people, 120,000 people seems like so much. Because I mean, even though if you find like one guy who's crazy good at something and you want to bring him in to help your company, I mean, bro, I feel like these could go to people in America, you know what I mean? Or, you know, any company that's in like any other place, you know? So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. Do I think anything's going to happen in the future where these things come to light? Companies actually get forced to start taking their security seriously? I don't think so. Not anytime soon. Not until like the next generation. The next generation gets into like all different branches of government. The, you know, the people that actually understand technology, the people that actually understand what it means to have your credentials compromised online and to have your information leaked, and then have people making accounts in your credit, you know, using your name to open credit cards, signing up for accounts online, doing stuff like that. I think that's when stuff like that might actually start changing, because they're growing up, they're getting older, seeing all these companies get hacked every 2 days. And that affects them. That affects the younger people, right? Not the people that have been freaking, you know, Nancy Pelosi making $20 billion off of insider trading, you know, right? So we do basically, well, the younger people, I guess, get in, but I guess by that time they'd be older now, right? When the younger people get in, I guess the hope is that those people would be like, yeah, we should probably do something about this because I'm tired of my accounts getting hacked. You know what I mean? I'm tired of my accounts getting hacked, right? I'm tired of my social security being on the dark web for the 20 billionth time, right? So yeah, until something like that happens, it's the same people that have always kind of been there right now. And until all those people get swapped out and, you know, out of there, then I don't see anything changing from now. So what I'd recommend, use a password manager, be wary of phone calls that you don't know. If you have T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, turn on the like scam call blocker on your account. If you have an iPhone, silence unknown callers. Same thing if you have an Android phone. You know, use services, maybe consider using services like easy opt-outs so you have less of your stuff online that they could take advantage of. Use two-factor authentication, and that does not mean text message authentication. That means authenticator apps like Ente-Auth. If you don't know what Ente-Auth, it's ENTE, I think, Ente-Auth. Stuff like that, where you get a code that gets generated every single, you know, certain amount of time that you enter in there. Use those, not text message, not email verification. What else? And Google, don't get mad at me, YouTube. Use one of those things that maybe blocks the weird things on your screen. I don't know if YouTube's going to get mad if I say the blocker, you know, but yeah. And be very careful of emails that get sent to you. And also, pro tip, if you have a password manager, what's really nice, if you're going into a website to log in, the password manager will keep the URL of the website that password, username and password is saved to. So that's a good way to see if you're on the actual website or not. Because if you're on a website that's using like a special character or something to trick that it's a different website, Like like it's pretend it's youtube.com, but the U is like some weird special character that looks normal, but it's actually a different character and you're actually on a whole different website. That's a thing, by the way. A password manager, it's not going to link those two things up, and you're going to realize that it's not actually bringing up your automatic sign in for YouTube or whatever website you're on. So that's another pro for password managers. So yeah. Oh man, I feel like I'm in a seminar right now. But yeah, and don't use your browser's built-in password manager.